Glenden, your farm's just south of Charlton. I know the area well. I grew up in Witchyproof, just north of you. You're a seventh generation farmer. You're obviously involved in your local community. Give us a sense of what it's like for you in relation to your own land, but what people locally are saying about this transmission line.
I think that there's a lot of unknown, which is probably one of the hardest things. A lot of bulldozing, a lot of railroading. We don't know. AEMO continue to neglect to come to the community meetings, to the forums, to give us information. They're very quick to change their routes, and with that comes fear, comes the unknown. People don't know what to expect. They don't know what they can and can't do around these transmission lines. We don't know the effects it's going to have on our business, our land prices. So a lot of fear, a lot of mental. I guess the starts of mental illness and afraid of the future, the unknown's it's devastating, and it's affecting a lot of people. So it's not great. As good as the community is, as strong as we are, it's really having some detrimental effects.
I bet it is. And what's wrong with this government? We're not getting information about the voice. We're not getting information about this transmission line. I'll do a comparison with the one that's going to come off Snowy 2.0. It's 360 kilometres. This one's a hell of a lot bigger. That's going to cost us upwards of $8 billion. What's the cost here, and why aren't we getting enough consultation?
The cost is, at this stage, we've been told it's $3.2 billion for this particular section of the transmission grid. But as I said earlier, the experts are saying it will be far more than that. The 500,000 volt wires have not been included in the quotation. And the social cost is devastating to the communities who have farmed here for generations, just like Glenden.
Glenden, what do you want to see the government do? What sort of action do you want?
I think the most obvious thing is at the situation or the time we are now is for the Senate inquiry. Within reason, the damage is done. I think they're flirting with dictatorship almost, that there's not a democracy here, that the Labor government is just push, ministerial orders, trying to rush this thing through as quick as they can, not taking into consideration the effects, the environment, social effects, not even the costings, as Anne's pointed out. There's independent professors who have kind of almost screaming blue murder over what AEMO are presenting, in that it's not true, it's not correct, it's false, that there's alternatives with less impact in every aspect. So I want to see a Senate inquiry. I want to see AEMO and the Labor government answer some questions.
Yep. I guess my concern with all this too, Anne, is the next sort of battering ram in this climate war is going to be our farmers, it's our agricultural communities. And now we've got these transmission lines going in, of course, but then we're going to have all the emissions that come on anyone who's got livestock. We've already seen some of that action taken overseas, particularly in places like New Zealand. We've seen the reaction to it, particularly from farmers in Europe. They're not having a bar of it. It's hard for people on the land, isn't it?
It's incredibly hard. Today we had around 60 to 70 farmers in the House. I was extremely proud of that so many people left their seeding after all the rain and came to Canberra because they feel so passionately about this. The pressure that this government is putting on agriculture is just profound. And I don't think they realise that in the midst of cost of living pressures, they're about to put food sources up. And the pressure for people at the checkout will be felt in due course. So this is going to impact everybody. This is not just farmers in Mallee. This is everybody.
What's your likelihood, Anne, of getting the Senate inquiry up?
Look, we're pushing hard. We've got 3 attempts. It should be being debated tonight in the Senate. We have had farmers going to see the crossbench, trying to encourage the crossbench that this is in everybody's interest, to have the transparency, to have the government answer questions, to have AEMO answer questions is in everybody's interest. Why would we want to invest in something that is, from these independent professors' view, is actually a monumental mistake? That is the terminology they're using. So this is important. The Senate inquiry needs to happen, and if it doesn't get up this time, we will continue trying. The Nats have committed to our farmers across Australia that we will continue to push the Senate inquiry.